Guys, what's the crack? Hope you're having a good day. It's a beautiful day here. Bitcoin with Dini Ostini here, and I want to give you, as I'm driving into the office this morning, well, it's not quite the morning anymore, but I want to give you the news you don't want to hear, just so you're prepared and you understand and you can protect yourself and you know how to play this game. Give my introduction. Bitcoin with Dini, we teach you how to understand Bitcoin. In our consulting, we teach you how to build a plan. We teach you to understand it so you can build your own plan so you can retire early. And we teach you how to custody Bitcoin, your digital assets, your digital property. We teach you how to custody it correctly so you don't lose it, you don't make rookie mistakes, you're not leaving it on exchanges, you're not leaving a wallet in your house because you wouldn't leave $5,000 sitting in your house. You've got to custody this thing correctly because people are going to try and steal it from you physically and cyber attacks, and it's only going to get worse. Okay, and every year, time and time again, we get a new cohort of people come in and they make all the mistakes and they lose all the money, and in the next 4 years, then they actually figure it out. I don't want you to wait 4 years if you're trying to figure this out. I want to help fast track your journey. All we ask is what we call the daily exercise, which is to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. Can I get around the show here now? Oh, we can. Perfect. Let's go. So hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and I would like to help you understand all this. But today I want to cover something that won't be as popular, especially with all the price pumping people, the people who are only interested in the number go up, the people who aren't interested in doing any work, the people who are looking for the next altcoin, or who will message me asking me, is the price of Bitcoin going to go down soon, or should they buy, or should they sell, or should they hold, or should they wait, or what should they do? Unfortunately, all these people are going to make this mistake. And that's one of the reasons why they're going to lose their money. And if you're one of them, hopefully you can get a bit of knowledge from this so you don't have to make the mistake. You can learn from, the best way to learn is to learn from other people's mistakes. This is what successful people, because I read all their books. When I was 20, I started reading books from successful entrepreneurs, successful businessmen, sports people. And the one thing is, a lot of people like to learn from other people's mistakes because they can save time and money by doing that. So, when it comes to investing, okay, the first rule of investing is don't invest money that you can't afford to lose. That's the golden rule, okay? Don't invest money that you can't afford to lose. Now, a lot of people, particularly in crypto, and especially when times are hard and the cost of living is hurting people, what that does is it pushes people out on the risk curve. It makes them feel more desperate, so they have to take more risks to try and solve their problem. Now, some people just have a bad mindset where they think things are easy and they want it to be quick and easy. But that mindset always punishes you. And again, that's another thing I learned from reading all these fucking multimillionaires' books, is that, you know, success isn't by accident. It takes work. And the luck that people will say he got lucky, it might have took a decade's worth of work behind the scenes that no one's seen or no one was aware of to actually create the luck or let the luck find you. So, number one, don't invest money that you can't afford to lose. Now, how I do that is I separate my living expenses from my investable capital. Okay, I separate my living expenses from my investable capital, and I keep security money, which is emergency funds as well. So you have all these different wealth buckets. So I know that my investing bucket, that's money I don't need for a decade. That's money I'm happy to live below my means. And that's the first thing. If you ever want to get ahead, you have to live below your means. It doesn't matter how wealthy you are or how poor you are. The only way to move to the next level is to live below your means. Okay, and for me, way back when, if any has never heard that story, that meant I stopped buying clothes. Stopped buying everything. Friends of mine, they bought clothes, they threw them out. I remember when I went to my friend's house one day, he had a bag of clothes on the ground. I was like, what are you doing with them? He's like, I'm throwing them in the bin. I looked in the bag and some of the stuff had labels on it. I was like, okay, from this day forward, you don't throw anything out and you give it to me. Okay? So you don't buy clothes. You know, and these are silly things. You guys are probably way ahead of me and you don't have to do any of this stuff. But that's the level that I had to do to try and live below my means, because I wasn't really earning any. You know, my earning was really, really low, and I was investing all my money into my own education at the time. So I was like, well, why would I buy clothes? I don't care about clothes. I'm not too interested in them. If someone's thrown out clothes and they're a month old, I'll wear them, no bother, happy days. So you got to live below your means. Rule number one. Okay? The second thing you got to do is you got to pay attention. And this is a test to see if you're paying attention. Hit the like button and let's see who's paying attention, because I'm going to see a flood of them. All right, and it helps the channel, it helps the algorithm, and it also helps you because it helps push Bitcoin education out to the world. And you want people to understand this thing, because that's how we move to a Bitcoin-friendly world, by education and people understanding it. So hit the like button for me. That'd be awesome. Don't just listen to me saying it. Okay, and you can hit the dislike button, and you can hit the love heart. You can hit anything. Just do something. So rule number 1, don't invest money you can't afford to lose. Rule number 2, separate your wealth into buckets, okay? So that you have an investing bucket. And for me, an investing bucket is, once that money goes into the investing bucket, I'm like, that's what I call decade money. It's money that I don't need to see for a decade. I'm planning on having that money allocated for a decade, okay? Now, I call it that, I put a caveat to that, and I say in the bearish scenario. And that means in the worst case scenario, I have to be able to hold those investments for a decade. Okay, now sometimes I don't hold them for a full decade, and sometimes I'll hold them for longer than a decade. But the money that goes into my investing bucket is decade money. Now, a lot of people have short-term mindsets, so they just want to put some money in and get it to double and get the money back out. And for me, that's telling me that's not money you can afford to lose, and it's also not investing capital. You might need that if the clutch goes in your car, or if your washing machine breaks, etc. Okay? So, and I know this is, people don't want to hear this, you just want to hear number go up technology, and the price is going to pump, and the ETF is going to drive this, and adoption is continuing, and we're just about to get a halvening, and all this other positive stuff. And that's fine. But to be a savvy investor, you have to understand your downside, and you have to manage your downside, and you have to manage your risk. And most people, when they come into crypto, they don't do any of this stuff, okay? They don't get educated, they don't spend time, they just buy tokens and think it's going to solve all their financial problems. And this doesn't solve their financial problems. I've got 4 years of experience now of working with people, and the thousands of sob stories to show that it just makes their financial situation worse. Unless you're prepared to do the work in this space, my advice to you is stand on the sidelines, because you're not going to make money, all right? And that's just my experience of 4 years of running a company in the space. Now, if I was to tell people, I'll throw you a bone. I'll say, okay, you don't do any work, you don't understand anything. If I was to give someone a plan who didn't want to do any work, didn't want to understand anything, and I thought I wasn't going to set them up for failure, I'd say dollar cost average into Bitcoin. Okay, again, with just investable capital, so not money, all the other rules, not money you can afford to lose, separate dollar cost average into Bitcoin. Okay, the thing is, and you've seen it now, okay, people would have asked me for advice before the ETF was launched. Should I pile in? Should I do this, Dinny? What should I do? And I really don't like giving an answer, and I'll do everything in my power not to give an answer. Okay, even to my consulting clients, I'll try and just give them overall information so they can make an informed decision and they understand both sides of the trade. Okay, but I won't tell someone, because Bitcoin will always do what you least expect it. That's what I find in my experience of this thing. It always does what you least expect it to. So ETF launches, it's like, okay, massive adoption, BlackRock are gobbling up, so the price should pump immediately. Nah, that's not how it works. Same with the halving. The halving will happen, the price mightn't pump. In fact, normally we get what's called a halving dump, pre-halving dump, where the price actually dumps in the halving. Now, I see this as, if you understand these things, these are your massive opportunities. But if you don't understand these things, you're one of these people who's buying high and then selling into the fear. Okay? So my question to you is, if you understand what you own, would you be prepared to hold your investment if Bitcoin was sitting at 10k today? Or would you be spooked out of it? Okay? 10k. So you can figure out what the value of your investment is and the value of the money you've put in is by that figure. But if you're not prepared for that, and I'll take it further, could you take a 3k? We went to 3k in 2020. Now, that was one of the greatest buying opportunities of Bitcoin, but the majority of people didn't. They were spooked out of their positions and they sold into the fear. So you'll tell me that you can. Some people will say they can. You can let me know in the comments. Do you understand what you own, and are you prepared to hodl the asset? Just type in, I'm hodling. Okay? Let me know. Let's see how the community are. And I'm not telling you should. I'm not telling you should ride this thing all the way to zero if it was to go to zero. But what I am saying is that there's massive volatility along the journey. Okay? And Bitcoin will always do what you least expect it, and it won't do what you think it should. And the market will trick you every single time. That's a market's job, to move money away from people who don't really know what they're doing to people who do know what they're doing. Okay? And that's why it's a dangerous place for you to be. I think it's a magical place if you educate yourself on it, if you join communities, if you get into a retire early community, not to be shilling the course, but you're protected from all this because you're in a hive mind of 150, 170 people I think we have who are all working on this, all building their own plan. So you now have the intelligence of 170 people rather than just your intelligence and what you're managing to consume. Okay? So get into communities, even if it's not my community, find communities of people in person or digitally, because you're just going to be stronger together. That's how the world works. That's how Bitcoin works, people. It works by using community. It works by using nodes to all network them together. That's why this thing is the largest supercomputer on the planet in terms of hash power. All right? It's more powerful than anything Google have. Why? Because rather than one person building one thing, this is a community of people, hundreds of thousands of people all over the planet, all building together. And you can't compete with that. Okay? It doesn't matter what you have. Okay? You can't compete if there's an army of 1,000 people coming after you. The community is stronger. So, recap. Rule number 1, don't invest money you can't afford to lose. Rule number 2, separate your money into different buckets. I teach all this on the Retire Early Club. We've whole modules on it and how to do it. I give people spreadsheets to fill it out, and you just plug in your own numbers and it spits out your financial health. Okay, so you understand where to invest, how to invest, and how much to invest, and how to balance your portfolios and everything. Okay, so separate your money into buckets and be prepared for volatility. I see volatility as opportunity. That's why I never make rash decisions of I've got to do this and I've got to make fast decisions. I move slow, and what will protect you in Bitcoin, the number one strategy that protects people, and I've no guarantee of this isn't financial advice, okay, but fundamentally, for the entirety of Bitcoin, those who have dollar cost average, which means just pick a figure, pick an amount that's comfortable to you, and purchase it every month or every week. You don't need to do it every day. That's too much work. You create too much UTXOs if you're putting it on a wallet. Do it every month is what I do. I just have an alarm on my phone that says DCA BTC, and I just send the euros to buy the Bitcoin. It's money I can afford to lose. It's investable capital I don't need to touch for a decade. And therefore, any of the short-term volatility is expected. We understand it. We expect it to happen. Okay? So I just want to bring that to your attention, to the community, especially to all the new people. Do me a favour for any new people here. We call it daily exercise. You get your finger like this, you warm it up, and you find the like button, and you give it a nice little press. And I'm interested to check out the comments. I can see some comments popping up there, but I am interested to see the comments, to see, do you understand what you're doing? And my last little dinny bomb, this is the last thing I'll say. It's all about responsibility. Successful people take ownership of their life. You'll see that in all these big podcasters that blow up. They talk about ownership. You have to own your decisions because you make them, okay? So you shouldn't be, I don't care how rich you get in Bitcoin. Don't blame me for getting so rich in Bitcoin. It's not my fault, it's your fault, okay? If you do the work, it's your fault. Same thing if you buy Bitcoin, you don't custody it correctly, okay? You don't learn the do's and don'ts and you lose it all. It's totally your fault. Okay, you can blame the scammer, but ultimately it's your fault who scammed you out of coins or who hacked you out of coins. You can blame them, but it's your fault. And when you take ownership for your life, you've ultimate control. And that's what I want everyone to understand, that if you're going to be an investor, this is the reason why we do this ourselves, because we take ownership. If you want someone else to do it, then buy a BlackRock ETF, okay? Buy a Bitcoin ETF. That will suit you better. But there's loads of limiting factors to that. But if you want all the benefits, guys, it's about taking ownership. So understand your risk, understand your downside. Let me know, are you prepared for the volatility, and let me know the price that Bitcoin goes down to that you'll actually sell it. Just type in 30 grand, 25 grand, 15 grand, 10 grand, 5 grand, 3 grand, 100 euro, 1 euro. Let me know. I'll be interested to check the comments later. Guys, I'm just going in here for a consultation with one of the boys. We're just setting up wallets. Have a super day. For now, I'll say Dinny out.